Hi everyone, back again with another episode. Okay, let's begin. So I'm trying to see because I noticed in my some of my previous videos my voice was quite kind of low, so I'm trying to kind of increase it and see how that goes. So first of all, I don't really have like a loud voice, like a voice that I can stretch. So, but um, pending till I get a proper audio system, uh, I hope you would pardon my voice. Okay, so let's begin. Um, the previous videos we've been kind of able to set up like the um, we've been able to set up like the authentication system, but we are not kind of done. And the reason for that is this: for the authentication system that we set up, right, which you can find in this authentication.ts. Basically, it's like there's an existing authentication that FedEx provide, and we just sort of like set up like the entity that the system will be interacting with in order to kind of authenticate us. So, for example, which service is it going to interact with to authenticate us? So that's like what we are doing, and we've changed the local strategy since we are not exactly using like password. It's a password-based system in a way, but we are not letting the user kind of set the password themselves. We are kind of generating the password and sending it to their email. So it means that we need to kind of one thing we did not do was like introduce we didn't like introduce the aspect that sent to the email, and I think it escaped my mind because I noticed that after I set up this schema, if you notice from the response that we were getting, after I set up this schema, which you can find here, we hashed the password. So meaning it's the password, the hashed mem pass is what gets saved to the database. So if that happens, it means that we cannot exactly access the code here, except there's a way we can kind of get the code just as we generate it, and then also store like a copy of that in the database. But then that wouldn't make sense. Like, okay, I've done something like that in the past, but still doesn't make sense. So that is keeping like the actual password and then keeping the hashed password. To me, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, it's a mistake I've done in the past. So we don't want to do something like that. So what we can do instead is by the time we are generating like this generate mem pass. Okay, so while we are generating it, immediately after we generate the pass and before we return it, we had like an a mail job to our email queue. And to do that, we need like a mailing service to handle that. We could maybe just create like a queue using Boolean queue and set up a worker for the stuff and then send it. But it's gonna become messed up by the time I like to kind of any queue I'm going to create, especially when it involves like emailing, and emailing there are a lot of things that goes in the process. For example, setting up templates in case you want to use templates and stuff like that. So in that case, I like to kind of organize my queues into their own services. So for example, I know that I'm going to create a mailing service which will handle anything emails, but then it's going to create its own queue and also going to create its own worker for sending, for like using node mailer for example to send an email. So yeah, that's what we want to do in this video. We want to kind of set up like a mailing service, and to do that we do need to bring up uh, this guy. Sorry, I have some things running here. Okay, so yeah, I'm in playground, not where I want to be. So I'm going to go into this and then go into API. So I'm inside here right now, so I can kind of increase the fonts like this and then open another tab and close this one. So this way I can also extend it. So yeah, here we go. So now this way I can start doing magic, right? Wait, does that even work? Yeah, expected. So I can start doing magic. So let's start. We want to kind of install stuff. So well, before I install, let me first ask Fedas to generate us a service. So before we generated authentication, and authentication also needed like a service that it's going to use to pass system manage the credentials of the users, which we did set up, and now we need to set up another service which is not related to authentication or something. I actually do wish that Fedas also have something for generating uh you know mailing service to just make things easy, but then uh it's just because I'm lazy, so ignore that. So now we can have this name of the service. Now, one thing about this service is that I want to make sure it's internal. It's an internal service, so it cannot be used. It cannot be accessed outside of this application. And to do that, for now, I'm not going to care whether it's internal or not. So let me just generate it. But the idea is it's supposed to be internal, so I like to kind of keep. Okay, in this case, let me not worry. I'm not gonna say what I want to say now. So, but let's just create like a mailing service. We need to give it a name. So, at least we've been coming up with weird names for this mainframe stuff. So, I don't want to call it mailer because I'm still going to create something called mailer, and it won't be related to this. So, let's think. Mailer actually makes sense. Let me just call it mailer. Mailer. Give me a moment. Let me ask ChatGPT for names. Don't mind me. I just like names to be cool. So there we go. I did get some names. Like one of them was Postal Flow. Doesn't make. It would have been cool if I was creating an actual API for maybe doing stuff like that, but it only makes sense in this case. Then Dispatch Pro, who does that? Message Forge, Signal Send, ouch. Correspondence Engine, damn. Transmit Hub, nope. Then I get one like Courier, that makes sense. At least it gives this kind of cool vibe. Or Relay. Okay, let me do something like this. What if I call it mail courier? At this point, it doesn't make sense anymore. Just better to call it mailer. If I call it courier, it's going to confuse anybody that comes into this code base. But yeah, sometimes we just have to do it that way, right? So courier service courier service. That sounds cool. Or courier service, no, it's cool like that. So does it require authentication? Not really. Yeah, the reason it's not going to require authentication is we don't really care. First of all, it's going to be an internal service, so we don't care. Now, at this point, should it be a SQL service or a custom service? It should be a custom service because we are not saving anything to the okay. There's a chance we might want to save stuff like maybe you want to save updates of like the mails we sent, right? Well, let me keep things simple for now. Though let me set it up that way so that we can actually do update stuff, right? Should I? Okay, let me think about it for a while. So if I had it that way, I would want to kind of complete that aspect too. So for example, saving to the database, like saving the updates of the emails that were created to the database. Okay, I'm not doing that, so here we go. So we've ended up generating Courier, as you can see here. So as for Courier, there is the class which will be red all over. Okay, it's not red because we've not touched the schema. So for the schema, you would expect that it's just going to create two stuff. This is what Fedas like creating, so it will just add like a text stuff. So it's going to add its text stuff to this thing, which we absolutely don't need. So yeah, and I'll actually be stopping here. So it's, but then we've generated this. So the next thing is to now kind of set up the queue and the worker that we'll be using to send the email. See you in the next one. Bye.